We're out here in Florida. We're with one of the owners of Antler Grow, Jeff Beeler. My name is Dave Richmond, and I've been using Antler Grow for a while now, and you guys have done a ton of videos on YouTube and Facebook, and you guys have always had questions. Well, now we have one of the owners here that can answer them more precisely, better than I can. So
we're getting pretty good at that though, Dave.
Yeah, trying to. It's still tough though. Just new to the micronutrition. I've never even used it before really until 2 years now.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. It blows my mind every time I use it. So I
know the stories that you tell. Everything just leaps and bounds on all your wildlife.
Yeah, everything. Butterflies.
Yep. Everything.
All wildlife.
Just wildlife. Yeah.
Wildlife in general. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, one of the first questions you guys have always asked is, well, if I spray it, isn't it going to wash off? So
no, it does not wash off. There's a sticker and a surfactant in it. The surfactant opens the pores of the plant and lets it ingest it. The sticker holds it to it so it's rain fast. As soon as you spray that, mist that plant, to the point of no runoff, because you don't want to really let it fall into the ground because it does no good, so it's just a waste of product. But as soon as you hit that plant, no matter what it is, green and growing, it does not wash off. I mean, we've had it last over a year in dead weeds, with the nutrition values on the analysis test that we get. But it does not wash off, period. It gets plants ingested. The only reason the sticker is there is to hold what mineral doesn't get inside the plant on the outside of the plant, because you're trying to benefit the plant and the wildlife at the same time.
Awesome, great. Now the other question is, does it do anything to the soil?
Does nothing to the soil. On the initial fact, what happens is when you compost, we live in green manure. You've been here on the farm and you see we turn the dirt, we do all that. We don't really use weed killers per se. We just turn we bush hog it and then turn it back in. And those nutrients, as they're composting, add to the soil for green manure, and it helps in the long run for, places down here, it's sugar sand.
Right.
There's no nutrition in the soil. And the beautiful thing about this is it makes the whole playing field, no matter where you are in the country, nutrient rich.
Okay.
And the soil itself.
And this is legal everywhere, right?
It's legal everywhere.
All 50 states.
As a matter of fact, we were riding down the road today and we talked to a guy from Illinois.
Yeah.
And he was just, he loves it, whatever going on, but that was one of his biggest questions, is legal. So we have an agriculture license in most all states, because we have agriculture product, home and garden product, and hunting product. So it's pretty unique on what it does for the hunting industry,
Awesome. Yeah. All right, guys, another question that a lot of you guys ask is, what specifically is micronutrition? Why is that different from NPK? Because I'll spray it a lot of times, and a lot of people will say, well, you're just spraying fertilizer.
Yeah.
And it's not fertilizer.
It's not fertilizer. Fertilizer are majors. Micronutrition is minors. The majors are your nitrogen, your potash, your potassium, stuff like that. That is, it helps the root base, it helps the greening, it helps all that. But it doesn't add any of the nutrients to the plant that the soil's lacking. And that's our whole life cycle of trying to help the plant, which helps the animal. And micronutrients are the biggest key player in all of that. Your coppers, molybdenum, cobalt, magnesium, manganese, zinc, irons, all that is all in one package, so you spread it out over acreage for cents on the dollar. And it just makes sense. You're feeding the animals where they're eating already, but micronutrition is all your minors, which is the essence of all plant life. If you've ever had a Boost drink or seen Grandpa drink a Boost drink, read the back of it. It says it has all the micronutrients in it that you're not getting from your vegetables and from your salads and all your meats and all you're supposed to be getting, because the soil is lacking it. It's not giving it to the plant, which isn't giving it to us. Well, it's the same thing with the deer. The plants in the woods, food plots, even, no matter what, you always wonder why it doesn't get to reach its full potential, is because it doesn't have the nutrients to thrive. Micronutrition is the essence of all life, which makes things grow. It gives it all it can be and show its full potential, so what eats it shows its full potential.
Okay.
Healthily, and naturally.
Okay. Now, it's always 1 ounce per gallon of water.
Always.
So can you use more or less? Does it help either way? You go.
Yes and no. 1 ounce is what we've found is to be the best. 1 ounce, you're not going to get any burn, you're not going to get anything, because what you're doing is you're spraying anything that's green and growing, from natural browse to food plots to brassicas to your annuals to your all that. Now 1 ounce, you can go higher on some things, on your natural browse if you want, but you don't have to, because it's just a waste of product and money. But on real volatile plants that are just freshly, fresh tender, we try and go a little bit less than 1 ounce, maybe a ½ ounce per gallon.
Okay.
It's very potent. Most cases, more is better. This is the opposite. Less is better, because it doesn't need it. It only needs a little shot. Like the other day we were watching deer, and we were talking about it, and the deer walked through the field and took 6 or 7 bites. It takes 2 or 3 bites of micronutrition-rich plant for his mineral content for the entire day.
Because micro takes a little bit to go a long way.
That's correct.
And macro takes a lot.
That's
to
correct.
Make a little bit.
That's correct. Macronutrition is dead nutrition. Macro means it takes a lot to make a little bit of a difference, and micro means it takes a little bit to make a huge difference. Well, in that being said, you're spreading that throughout the year. Now they're having a nutritious diet year-round on anything green and growing. 700-something plant species in the country. So if you spray whatever they're eating in your neck of the woods, then it just benefits everything.
And how often should somebody go to spray, whether it's a food plot or, say, natural browse or something? How long or how often should somebody spray?
2 months is probably the best. We have guys that'll spray it every few weeks. You don't have to. 1 month, the numbers are still high, but 2 months is where the numbers start to wane. The numbers start to wane as far as not for the plant, but for the animal, at the highest potency, because the plant is growing because of the micronutrients. So when it's growing, it's burning the fuel to express its growth. So those numbers are going to start waning after about 2 months. So then we go out and respray it, not for so much the plant health, but more for the animal health. Because on a plant health, we only got to do it every 3 or 4 months.
Okay. Now, can you explain a little bit about digestible proteins? What that is, how Antler Grow helps with that?
Absolutely. Digestible proteins is more sticks to the ribs. It's just that simple. And Antler Grow, the micronutrients in Antler Grow, helps by 3 to 6% on average of upping the digestible proteins with more sticks to the ribs. It's more palatable, more sticks to the ribs, and it's highly attractive, not because it's an attractant, but because they're attracted to a more nutritious plant.
Okay.
It's that simple.
Yeah, somebody earlier in the week shot a big doe, and it was like, 140 pounds,
140
right?
pounds here. Yeah.
And you've taken deer in Florida from what, average body weight?
Averaging 90 to 100 pounds doe.
And now they're averaging 130, 40?
Yeah, I'd say 130, 135, 140.
Yeah, it's just
that's the
crazy.
average. It is crazy what it does, and the turkeys have just exploded. The quail, I mean, people drive down the roads, certain times of the year, and just the quail are just everywhere.
Well, I noticed, several sittings, I've seen a lot of turkeys, and turkeys here compared to Maryland were like quarter of the size bigger than what they are at home.
They're big girls,
and
big
they're feeding in the sprayed plot. I mean, they were there for hours
Yeah.
just feeding in there, and it's just
that's
crazy.
a chain reaction. With the turkey is a bugger, so the bugs are eating the plants and getting all the nutrients and all that, so they're nutrient rich, and the turkey's going along, and he's getting the bugs here and there and this and that, and he's getting a little bit of leaf here, a little bit, and it's all nutrients, and it's year round.
All right, if somebody was to purchase Antler Grow, where can they find it, or how do they get a hold of you?
Antlergrow.com. It's always free shipping. It's about $80 a gallon, and
Which does 5 acres, right?
it does 5 acres, yeah. Which, I mean, you think about $80 a gallon is expensive, but in the scheme of things, it's very cheap. I think it works out to $14 an acre. And the cool thing is a lot of people don't have the money to make food plots.
Right.
So we do a lot of bush hogging, and we just go spray the weeds and natural vegetation year round. We do that, and you've just made a food plot for $14 for an acre.
Okay, good. That's a good point there. If somebody, say, doesn't have the means or money to do a food plot,
Yes.
they can bush hog a field or whatever it is. Should they spray first and then bush hog, or should they bush hog spray? How can somebody create a free food plot?
We have guys that use bush hogs, little push mowers, weed eaters, whatever their tools that they have are available, and they'll go out and they'll just mow down whatever grasses, whatever they want for their hunting area, or just to feed the deer. And then they'll go spray about a week after that when the fresh tips start coming up, and then they'll mow it probably every month and a half, and they'll respray it every month and a half.
Okay.
One cool thing is you've seen here on this place, we've already had a couple light frosts, and everything's turning brown.
Right.
Well, the sprayed grasses hold up better in the light frosts than anything. They're still green and growing, and it's still beautiful.
Yeah.
And the deer are still eating them, and it's just weeds. It's all it is weeds.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed just for, say, I have like a 2 acre property at home that I hunt. It's just a very small piece.
Right.
And I started spraying last year, which I was just spraying to browse, and it was just a grassy field I started spraying. Well, the deer kind of like flocked in there.
Yes.
And they kind of stayed within that area. And then this year I planted a spring food plot and then a fall food plot, and they're just devouring it.
Yeah.
When before there was like hardly any deer in there at all, but when they do come in and feed, they're there for hours. And that was another thing. I was able to harvest a nice buck.
Right.
Muzzleloader season.
That was a beautiful deer too.
Well, I was tracking this deer through the spy point cameras, and he was actually staying within a 200, 300, 400 yard radius.
Yes.
Feeding on the browse around the sprayed field edges, and I was able to shoot him. And it was.
Where do we go every day? We go home for dinner.
Yeah.
Deer are going to seek out the most nutritious area,
Yeah, they gotta
and they're
eat.
going to make that home.
Yeah, they got to eat.
You know,
Yep.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of people are skeptics. You know, oh, there's something new on the market. You know, it's just another gimmick. You know, we didn't do this for the hunting industry. We did this for ourselves.
Right.
Because we were tired of the gimmicks. You know, so we made something that we knew that worked with analysis tests, with tissue samples from the plant, from the soil, from everything, and we knew we were benefiting the animals, and we're growing and visually seeing the animals get bigger over time. You know, and healthy as a horse. You know.
Right. So people could do their own analysis test,
Yes.
and they'll see the difference.
Absolutely.
In numbers.
Yeah, analysis test is like $25-$30 depending on where you go in the country, and you can go with your local farm ag, and they'll do analysis tests for you, tissue samples and soil samples, just like you do on the, you know, for your food plots for, you know, your pH levels. You know, they'll do analysis and they'll show you. But most of the time in all plants, it's almost triple the mineral content, triple. After one spray, and then you stay at that level right there. So if you can triple the mineral content in that plant, you're upping the digestible proteins and everything else. To me, it makes total sense. But
So this is an important point here. So not only can somebody buy it, use it, and physically see the results
That's
from
correct.
deer, you know, staying longer in the area, feeding eating on what you spray. If they want more proof, they could actually do analysis.
they could do anything. The sky's the limit with it. You could do your own analysis test, do your own homework, and we encourage that.
Yeah.
Do your own homework, do your own research on something that you're going to buy and spend money on. You know, we love the management side more so than the hunting side. You know, we're hunters, we fish, that's what we do. I mean, we don't do anything else. We don't have regular jobs. This is our job. This is our life, is outdoors. You know, so when we went to the table to make something, we wanted the best we could possibly have because we've tried everything. Everything that's on or off the market, we've tried it all.
Yeah.
You know, and this is why we made it out of desperate situation, to be honest with you. You know,
Awesome.
by doing the plants thing with the orange trees that we've talked about, you know, doing all that and saying, hey, let's make this, do this, since it does this for this. You know, and it all goes down to you are what you eat.
Right. And that's how you actually started, right?
Was orange
spraying-
trees.
was spraying orange trees in Florida.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. Florida's always been home base. You know, it's where we grew up and it's where we live, and you know we do analysis tests throughout the whole country, and people like you know that use it on a regular basis, and you know the gimmick thing, people they want to test it themselves. So that's why we started that 4-ounce bottle.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it gives somebody an opportunity to go buy a small amount, go test it out, and they don't have to buy the gallon. When the gallon's your best price, you know, for $14 an acre, but you know, we understand that. So the 4-ounce bottle is also made for the backpack sprayer. Or the guy just got the 1-gallon sprayer. It doesn't have a big area to do.
Yeah.
You know, you want everybody to be able to benefit because we're the only ones that sells a micronutrition package to the public.
That's legal in all states.
That's legal in all states,
legal in all states.
except California and a few others, but we won't get into that right now.
All right, guys. If you're interested in Antler Grow, visit antlergrow.com. There's a number on there, email. You can call Jeff, ask him any of your questions. And if you want more proof, you guys, like he just said, you guys can go out, spray some, get analysis tests, and call him and tell him what you got. And we'd love to talk to you guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Be good, guys.